We all go through seasons in life where things feel challenging, where obstacles seem insurmountable, and where it feels like we're being tested in every area of our lives. But I want to remind you today that these tests are not in vain. They're not signs of failure or signs that you're being punished. They are actually indicators that God is preparing you for something greater. You see, God doesn't just bless us without preparing us. Before the breakthrough, there is often a testing that takes place. And this testing is crucial for the transformation that needs to happen in our hearts. Sometimes, in the midst of life's greatest challenges, God will step in and lead us out of our comfort zone. You might feel pushed, stretched, or even forced to go beyond what feels safe and secure. It's in these moments that we must remind ourselves that growth never happens in the comfort zone. If you want to experience the breakthrough that you've been praying for, God often has to prepare you by moving you to a place where you have no other choice but to trust Him. This is where your faith becomes stronger and your spiritual capacity is expanded. God's plan for you is always greater than what you can imagine, but to walk into that blessing, He needs to prepare you for it. Stepping out of your comfort zone is one of the clearest signs that God is working in your life. It's easy to stay where things feel familiar, but growth comes when you step into the unknown, when you're faced with situations that demand you to lean on God's wisdom and trust that He knows what's best for you. When God stretches your faith, He's preparing you for the next level. It might be uncomfortable at first, but that's part of the process. When He takes you out of your comfort zone, He's showing you that you can do more than you thought you could. When you feel uncomfortable, remember that it's a sign that God is about to do something incredible. You can't stay where you are and expect to get what you've been praying for. It requires you to step up, take risks, and trust that God is with you every step of the way. The world tells us to play it safe, but God's Word tells us to walk by faith, not by sight. The courage to step out of your comfort zone is what unlocks the door to the blessings you've been waiting for. When you take that first step into unfamiliar territory, you are showing God that you are ready for more. That's when He can open up the windows of heaven and pour out the blessings He has for you. But it starts with you taking that first bold step, trusting that God is leading you and guiding you even when you can't see the full picture. When God moves you out of your comfort zone, He's not leaving you to fend for yourself. He is there with you, strengthening you, equipping you, and empowering you to rise to the challenge. It's in those uncomfortable moments that your faith grows and your trust in God deepens. You begin to see that His ways are higher than your ways, and His plan for you is greater than anything you could have imagined. Don't resist the discomfort. Don't run from the challenges that come your way. Understand that they are not signs of defeat, but signs that God is preparing you for something greater. When you step out of your comfort zone, you're allowing God to expand your horizon, and you're positioning yourself for a breakthrough. When you're in a season of waiting, it can feel like nothing is happening. You pray, you hope, and you wait for the breakthrough to come, but it seems like you're just stuck in a cycle. However, one of the signs that God is testing you before your breakthrough is the period of waiting. This waiting season is not wasted time, but a time for you to learn patience, trust, and perseverance. God doesn't waste anything. Every moment, every delay, every struggle is being used to shape you into the person you need to be for the blessing He has in store. Waiting requires a level of trust that goes beyond what we can see. It's easy to keep going when things are moving, but it's in the waiting, in the moments of uncertainty, that our faith is built. You may not see the results immediately, but that doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. You may not feel it, but He is preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. The waiting period is when God is strengthening your character, developing your patience, and teaching you to rely fully on Him. God doesn't want you to rush through this time. He's doing something in your heart, refining you, preparing you for what's coming next. If you were given your breakthrough too soon, you might not be able to handle the blessing that comes with it. The waiting period gives you the opportunity to grow stronger in your faith and better equipped for the next season of your life. It's not a setback, it's preparation. Become the present, then take the notice. You can trust that every day of waiting is one step closer to the breakthrough you've been praying for. Another sign that God is testing you before your breakthrough is the way He refines your character during difficult situations. Often, it's in our most challenging moments that we are faced with the opportunity to grow the most. The pressure and challenges can feel overwhelming, but remember, gold is refined by fire. The trials and tribulations you face are not to break you. They're to make you stronger. Every challenge you face is God's way of building your resilience, shaping your heart, and getting you ready for what's next. God never allows you to face something you can't handle. If He has brought you to a challenge, He has already equipped you to get through it. And when you come out on the other side, you will be stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the blessings that lie ahead. Sometimes you have to go through the fire in order to be refined, to learn how to handle the next level of blessings and responsibility. When you're tested, it's not a sign of abandonment. It's a sign that God is positioning you for greatness. As you walk through these tests, remember that God is not only working in you, but He's also working for you. The challenges are temporary, but the blessings are permanent. God is using this time to get you ready for what He's about to do. Trust that His timing is perfect and that your breakthrough is closer than you think. It might not look like it right now, but just around the corner is the blessing you've been waiting for, and all the tests, the delays, and the challenges are making you ready to receive it. When you're walking through the toughest seasons of your life, one of the signs that God is preparing you for your breakthrough is the increase in challenges and opposition. It's often during these difficult moments that you feel the weight of circumstances and everything inside you may be telling you to give up. However, the truth is that God uses these very situations to strengthen your faith and refine your spirit. These challenges are not random. They are purposeful. They're not just tests of endurance, but also opportunities for growth and elevation. What you're facing today is not meant to defeat you, but to develop you. Think about a tree that's planted in the most fertile soil. It will grow strong because the roots have to stretch deeper to find nourishment. The more difficult the season, the stronger you are becoming. In the moments when you feel as though you can't go on, remember that God is shaping you to be more than a conqueror. Your character is being refined. Your patience is being developed, and your perseverance is being strengthened. The testing of your faith, though challenging, is working in you to produce a harvest of blessings and breakthroughs that are just ahead. Trust that this is part of God's perfect plan for your life, a plan to elevate you to a higher level. Another sign that God is testing you before your breakthrough is that He often pushes you beyond your comfort zone. When you feel a nudge to step into something new or to take a risk that feels intimidating, that's God preparing you for what's to come. You may be called to do something that seems beyond your capacity, but remember, God never calls you to something without equipping you for it. He may be stretching you, making you uncomfortable so that you can grow into the person He needs you to be for the breakthrough He is about to release into your life. It's in those moments of stepping into the unknown that you learn to rely not on your own strength, but on His power. You begin to recognize that God's purpose for your life is greater than any fear or uncertainty. Stepping out of your comfort zone is a sign of growth, a sign that you are being molded into someone capable of handling the blessings God has in store. God will never let you fail when you step out in faith. He is with you every step of the way, and He will equip you for the task. Don't let fear hold you back. Take that step, trust God, and watch as He begins to open doors that you never thought possible. A sign that God is testing you before your breakthrough is that He starts to refine your heart and motives. Before God gives you the breakthrough you're praying for, He wants to ensure that you are ready for the responsibility and the blessings that come with it. He may start showing you areas in your life that need to be corrected or refined. It might feel uncomfortable at times, but this refining process is essential. God wants to make sure that your heart is aligned with His will and that you're not seeking His blessings for selfish reasons, but for His glory. In these moments, take a step back and reflect. Ask God to search your heart and reveal anything that may be hindering you from receiving His full blessings. It's a time for repentance, for letting go of old habits and mindsets, and for cultivating a heart that is humble, grateful, and ready to serve. When your heart is in the right place, when your motives are pure, God can trust you with greater responsibility and greater blessings. He's not holding back your breakthrough. He's preparing you to handle it with grace and wisdom. If you're facing tests today, know that God is preparing you for something much greater. The breakthrough is on the way, and these tests are shaping you into the person you need to be to handle what's coming. Keep the faith, remain steadfast, and trust that God is working all things together for your good. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, and every test is part of the process. When you're walking through a season of waiting, it may feel as though nothing is happening. The world around you may seem silent, and you might begin to question if God is really at work. But remember, it is often in these quiet, seemingly uneventful moments that God is preparing you for the biggest breakthroughs of your life. He may not be moving in the ways you expected, but that doesn't mean He's not working. God is a master at turning even the most mundane moments into stepping stones for something greater. In times of waiting, trust that God is aligning the pieces, setting the stage, and working behind the scenes to orchestrate a perfect outcome. It is important to recognize that just because you don't see anything happening, it doesn't mean you're not being prepared. Sometimes the greatest work is happening in your heart, not in your circumstances. God is cultivating patience, perseverance, and faith within you. In those quiet seasons, He is strengthening your inner character, so you will be able to handle the magnitude of the blessing that's on its way. You may not be able to see it yet, but trust that everything you're going through is leading you to something bigger and better than you ever imagined. Another sign that God is preparing you for something big is when you feel a stirring in your spirit, a longing for more. You might sense a deep hunger for something greater, a desire to step into a new chapter in your life, or a feeling that you're on the brink of something huge. That stirring is not coincidence. It's God placing a vision in your heart, a glimpse of the future He has for you. It might feel uncertain or overwhelming, but this is God's way of preparing you for the next phase of your life. When He begins to stir your spirit, it's a signal that something extraordinary is coming your way. The longing you feel is the beginning of the breakthrough that God has already set in motion. God will also use seasons of discomfort to prepare you for your breakthrough. When you feel restless, uneasy, or as if you don't quite fit in where you are, it's often a sign that God is preparing you for a shift. He wants to stretch you, to take you beyond your current boundaries, to push you into new territory. The discomfort is not a punishment. It's a sign of growth. God often uses discomfort to help you see beyond your present circumstances and to expand your vision. He wants to stretch your faith, grow your capacity, and equip you for the future He's leading you into. If you're feeling uncomfortable right now, don't resist it. Embrace the challenge, knowing that God is preparing you for something bigger and better than where you are today. A sure sign that God is preparing you for a breakthrough is when you begin to see doors open that were previously closed. It may seem like a miracle, but in reality, it's the result of God aligning the right people, circumstances, and opportunities at just the right time. Doors that seemed impossible to open are suddenly swinging wide, and you're walking into new opportunities with favor and grace. This is God's way of signaling that the season of preparation is coming to an end, and the breakthrough you've been praying for is on its way. Trust that the doors opening in your life are a direct result of the work God has been doing in you behind the scenes. He's not only preparing the blessing for you, He's also preparing you to step into it confidently and with gratitude. When God is preparing you for a breakthrough, it's not always easy to see what He's doing, but if you pay attention to the signs, the stirrings in your spirit, the seasons of waiting, the discomfort, and the open doors, you'll begin to see how He's working on your behalf. Keep trusting, keep believing, and know that your breakthrough is closer than you think. Everything you're experiencing right now is part of God's perfect plan, leading you to the abundant future He has in store for you. Keep pressing forward because your breakthrough is on the way. When you're in the midst of a season where things don't seem to be moving forward, it's easy to feel discouraged and wonder if your prayers are being heard. But it's in these very moments of waiting that God is working behind the scenes. The process of waiting isn't wasted time, it's preparation. God is molding you, shaping you, and setting everything in place for what's ahead. You may not see it now, but trust that each moment spent waiting is part of the divine process. God is using this time to build your character, strengthen your faith, and teach you valuable lessons that will sustain you in the next season. So don't despair in the waiting. Instead, trust that God is working in ways you can't yet understand, preparing you for the blessings that are on their way. God's preparation comes in the form of a season of discomfort. You might feel restless, like you're not quite where you're supposed to be, or like your circumstances are too challenging to bear. It's easy to wish for things to change, but know that discomfort often leads to growth. Just as a seed must go through a period of darkness and pressure to sprout into something beautiful, you too must endure discomfort to reach your full potential. When you feel like you're being stretched, remember that God is enlarging your territory, expanding your capacity, and positioning you for something greater. Embrace the discomfort, because it's in these moments that God is stretching you beyond your limits, preparing you for the breakthrough that's coming. Another sign that God is preparing you for a breakthrough is when you begin to sense a stirring in your spirit. You feel a deep longing for something more, a desire for change, and an unshakable belief that something good is coming. This stirring is not just wishful thinking, it's the Holy Spirit at work within you, planting seeds of hope, dreams, and visions for your future. When you begin to feel this longing, it's a clear sign that God is igniting a passion in your heart for something bigger than you've experienced. Don't ignore it. This stirring is a sign that your heart is being prepared for something extraordinary, and God is setting the stage for His blessings to manifest in your life. There are also times when God will prepare you by refining your faith. He will place challenges before you that require you to trust Him in new ways. These challenges may seem overwhelming, but they are designed to strengthen you and build a deeper level of trust. When you face obstacles, remember that God is not punishing you. He is preparing you for something greater. He's teaching you to rely on Him, to lean into His promises, and to believe in His timing. The challenges you face are opportunities for growth. They are refining your character, sharpening your focus, and preparing you for the blessings that are coming. Keep trusting God, even when the road seems uncertain, because He is using every challenge to equip you for what's ahead. A final key sign that God is preparing you for a breakthrough is the sudden opening of doors. You may have been waiting for an opportunity, wondering when the right time would come, and then out of nowhere, doors begin to open. People who were once closed off to you now seem receptive. Opportunities you thought were lost resurface, and favor begins to find its way to you. These open doors are not random. They are divinely orchestrated moments that are a part of God's perfect plan. Trust that these opportunities are His way of telling you that your breakthrough is near. Walk through them with confidence, knowing that God has gone before you and is leading you into new opportunities. In every season of life, God is working behind the scenes to prepare you for the future He has planned for you. Whether you are in a season of waiting, discomfort, or challenge, trust that God is at work in ways you cannot yet see. The signs are all around you. A stirring in your spirit, a deep longing for change, challenges that refine your faith, and doors that open when you least expect them. You're going to find the truth, but it may not be pretty. And sometimes the pain and suffering at the end of the season. Keep your eyes open and your heart receptive, because God is preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Your breakthrough is coming, and the process of preparation is just as important as the breakthrough itself. Trust in His timing, His plan, and His perfect purpose for your life. When you're in the midst of waiting and things don't seem to be moving, it can feel discouraging. You may even wonder if God has forgotten you, or if your prayers are falling on deaf ears. But let me remind you, God's timing is perfect, and there's purpose in every season. Often, when we feel like nothing is happening, God is preparing us for something greater. During these waiting times, He's working behind the scenes, aligning everything perfectly for the breakthrough that's coming. While you wait, God is building your faith, strengthening your patience, and getting you ready for the next chapter in your life. Remember, waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means that God is setting everything up so that when the time comes, you'll be more than ready to step into the next season with confidence. Another sign that God is preparing you for your breakthrough is when you begin to feel a sense of discomfort in your current circumstances. It might seem like everything is out of place, like you're not where you should be, or like things are just not fitting right. But often, discomfort is a catalyst for change. It's in these times of unease that God is working to stretch you, to grow you, and to prepare you for the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Much like the process of refining precious metals, discomfort is necessary to bring out the best in you. When life feels uncomfortable, instead of complaining, take a moment to thank God for the transformation that is taking place. Trust that He's enlarging your territory, expanding your capacity, and making room for the new blessings that are on the way. The sign that God is preparing you for a breakthrough comes in the form of a deep stirring in your heart. You begin to feel that something big is coming, something that will change everything. This stirring isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a divine inner prompting. It's God whispering to your heart that something good is on the horizon. That feeling of anticipation and excitement isn't by accident. It's God working within you, igniting hope and aligning your spirit with the greatness He has planned for you. Pay attention to that stirring. It's a sign that your heart is ready to receive all that God has in store. God also prepares you for a breakthrough by refining your faith. You'll often face challenges and obstacles that test your trust in Him. These challenges are not there to break you, they're there to build you. God uses difficult situations to refine your character, to strengthen your belief, and to deepen your relationship with Him. When you face challenges, instead of giving up or getting discouraged, remind yourself that this is part of God's refining process. He's teaching you how to trust Him in new ways, how to rely on His strength, and how to stand firm in your faith, even in the face of adversity. Keep moving forward, even when it seems tough, because every step you take is preparing you for the breakthrough that's coming. A key sign that God is preparing you for something great is when doors start to open in ways you never expected. These open doors may seem like coincidences at first, but when you look closer, you'll see that they're divine interventions. God is orchestrating your steps, leading you to the opportunities you need, and positioning you in the right place at the right time. You may have been waiting for these doors to open for a long time, but trust that they will open in God's perfect timing. When they do, don't hesitate. Walk through with faith, knowing that He has made a way for you. When God is preparing you for a breakthrough, you may experience a period of growth that feels like a stretch. You might find yourself pushed beyond your limits, dealing with challenges you didn't anticipate. But it's in these moments of stretching that you grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's to come. God never stretches us without purpose. Each stretch, each challenge, and each difficulty is meant to build us into who He created us to be. Embrace the stretching, because it's a sign that God is getting you ready for something bigger and better than you've ever imagined. When God is preparing you for a breakthrough, the signs are all around you. It may be in the form of waiting, discomfort, a stirring in your spirit, refined faith, open doors, or a time of stretching. Whatever it looks like for you, trust that God is working in your life. He's making you ready for the blessings that are on their way. Keep your heart open, stay faithful, and know that God's plan for you is greater than you can imagine. When you're in the midst of what feels like a trial or a season of waiting, remember that God is never idle. Every challenge, every moment of discomfort, every stir in your spirit, and every open door is part of His perfect preparation for the breakthrough that's about to come into your life. Trust the process, even when it's hard, and stay faithful in the waiting. God is refining you, strengthening your faith, and expanding your capacity for greater blessing. His timing is always perfect. And though the journey may seem long, it is leading you to something far greater than you could ever imagine. Keep believing, keep praying, and know that your breakthrough is on the way. Trust that God is preparing you for a season of favor, joy, and abundance that will exceed all expectations. Keep your heart open and ready to receive all the blessings He has for you.